If someone had asked me 2 years ago whether I believed in ghosts, I would have laughed and said, scary movies are just movies. But now, if I see even a shadow behind a closed door, I wake up screaming. It all happened at Miranda House Girls Hostel, Delhi University. Block C, room 303, and no, it wasn't a hallucination. It was something real, something that changed my life forever. In early 2022, I got admitted to Miranda House. My father is a school teacher, and I was the first girl from our family to move alone to a city like Delhi. During hostel allotment, I was assigned room 303 in Block C. I was both excited and a bit nervous. New place, new faces, and far from home. The first time I entered the room, it felt strangely empty, almost abandoned. There was an old mirror with a chipped corner, walls stained with damp patches, and a ceiling fan that swayed slightly even when still. Something about the room felt off, but I told myself, it's just in your head. My roommate Sonali hadn't arrived yet. That night, I was alone. Around 2:30 a.m., I woke up. The room was dark, only a faint streetlight glow coming in through the window. It felt like someone was standing near the door. I tried to ignore it, but then 3 soft taps. I froze. A few seconds later, again. Trembling, I looked under the door and saw 2 shadows, feet, but they were reversed. The toes were facing away from the door. I quickly locked the latch and stayed up all night whispering prayers. The next day, Sonali arrived. She was cheerful and talkative. When I told her about the night before, she laughed. "You're such a scaredy cat. These old buildings always creak and groan." But that night, we both heard something. Around 2 a.m., we heard a soft, eerie giggle outside the door, like a little girl laughing in whispers. We opened the door. The corridor was completely empty. We thought maybe it came from another room, but later we found out all the surrounding rooms were empty that night. Most girls had gone home for vacation. Within days, even Sonali started noticing odd things. Her books would fall off the shelf by themselves. The zippers on her bags would open during the night. And the worst part, once she looked into the mirror and saw someone standing behind me, even though I wasn't in the room at the time. We considered reporting it to the warden, but first we wanted to investigate. We visited the library archives and found a dusty old hostel log. There was an entry, student death, room 303, 2017. A girl named Rima Das, a first-year student, had stayed in that same room. Her body was found hanging from the ceiling fan one night. No suicide note, no clue. The room was sealed for 2 years after that, then painted, renovated, and handed to us. That night, Kowloon Kwet, was the most horrifying night of my life. Sonali had gone to her aunt's place. I was alone again. At 2:12 a.m., I woke up. The fan was off. The room smelled damp. I reached for my water bottle, quote, Kowloon. And then came the knock. Knock. But this time the door creaked open by itself. Something entered. Not a person. Not an animal. It was a shadow, smoky, tall, in the shape of a woman. Its eyes were glowing red, and its body floated, slightly above the ground. I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe. I froze on the bed. It came closer and whispered into my ear, "Why did you forget Rima? This room belongs to me," says, "Ao won gives taik." Suddenly the whole room began shaking. The mirror fell and shattered. The fan began spinning violently, Kowloon, even though the switch was off. I blacked out. Kowloon. When I woke up, I was in the nursing room. The other girls told me I was found unconscious on the floor. The door was locked from the inside. My screams had woken up the whole floor, and the warden had to break the door open. The mirror was indeed broken, Kowloon, or oh woe. And there were strange blood-like stains on it, but I had no wounds on me, Kololi. That very day, I requested a hostel transfer. I didn't explain much. I just wrote one line. Something else lives in room 303, Kowloon. Now I live in a different hostel. Life feels normal again, maybe. But even now, at exactly 2:12 a.m., I often wake up. And it still feels like someone is knocking at the door, Kowloon. Kowloon 12, maybe 6, Kowloon, it is now. Wild go stong to the sign. If you think I made all this up, I can show you the broken shard of mirror I still carry in my bag. Because on it, a name is etched, Kowloon, Rima Das. I never thought a normal weekend getaway would turn into the most horrifying experience of our lives. I'm writing this today, almost 3 years later, and my fingers are still trembling on the keyboard. It all happened in August 2021 in a dense forest region of British Columbia, Canada, where the three of us went camping, me, Nawal, and Ramin. Only I came back, and whatever was behind those trees has never left my mind. The three of us were college friends. We lived in Toronto and used to go out every weekend. Nawal loved nature, Ramin loved photography, and I just wanted a bit of silence. That Friday night we made a decision. Let's go deep into the wilderness. No cell service, no people, just trees and us. We picked a secluded camping spot on Google Maps, Lone Creek Trail, a hidden place in British Columbia where hardly anyone goes. We packed a tent, 2 days worth of food, a small stove, and a survival kit. We didn't tell anyone the full details, just posted a story on Instagram, gone camping. We left the next morning. The air was cool, the sky was clear, and the whole drive we were singing and laughing. We never imagined it would be the last time the three of us laughed together. As we approached Lone Creek Trail, the road turned into gravel. There was no proper sign, just a silent entrance into the woods. No one else was there, just trees, silence, and a strange sense of heaviness in the air. We set up our tent, lit a fire, roasted marshmallows, and took pictures. The evening was calm, only occasional animal sounds from the distance. Nawal laughed and said, "This feels exactly like a horror movie, doesn't it?" Ramin joked, "Don't say that. Next thing you know, a shadow walks out from behind the trees." We all laughed, but there was a slight hesitation in that laugh, because those trees really were unnaturally still. Around 1 a.m., we were trying to sleep inside the tent. Ramin suddenly shook me awake. "Zara, someone's out there." I lifted my head and looked through the thin fabric of the tent. There was a figure standing among the trees. It looked human, but it was taller than normal and stood there completely motionless. We thought maybe a hunter or someone who lives in the woods, but when Nawal shined the flashlight outside, the figure was gone. Next morning, we noticed footprints in the wet soil around our camp. But here's what was strange. The prints only circled the tent. No approach, no departure, just a perfect ring. Ramin said, "These aren't normal human feet. The toes look long and crooked." We brushed it off with a laugh, but deep down, we all started feeling like something wasn't right. In the afternoon, we went to a nearby stream. We sat by the water. Ramin was taking photos. Nawal walked a little further into the woods. She said she saw something interesting past the trees. 5 minutes passed, then 10. We called out, "Nawal, where are you?" No reply. We searched the entire area. All we found was Nawal's sandal and small bloodstains on a tree root. We ran back to the camp. There was no phone signal, no way to call for help. We were both trembling, huddled inside the tent. Ramin said, "We leave at dawn. Something's seriously wrong here." That's when we heard it. A strange whispering from the forest, like multiple voices murmuring at once, but in no language we understood. Then, footsteps, right outside the tent. Ramin grabbed her camera, unzipped the flap, and shined the flashlight outside. Then screamed. It was there, that same figure, now closer than ever. And its eyes weren't eyes at all, just dark holes in its skin. Ramin snapped a photo, and I saw it happen with my own eyes. That thing covered her mouth and dragged her into the darkness. I curled up inside the tent and didn't move until morning. As soon as the sun rose, I ran. I didn't remember the path. I lost my shoes. My hands were scratched and bleeding. A truck driver found me stumbling near the edge of the forest and took me to the hospital. I told the police everything. An investigation followed. They found our campsite, but there was no trace of Nawal or Ramin. No blood, no clothing, no footprints. Just one thing. Ramin's camera, with one last photo in it. That photo, where something is covering her mouth, dragging her into the shadows. I've never gone near a forest since. I deleted my Instagram, shut down all my social media. But sometimes, when I wake up at night, I swear I see shadows swaying outside the window. Like the trees are whispering. Like, that thing came back with me. I never thought a normal road trip would turn out to be the biggest mistake of my life. This happened in 2022. I was on my way from Las Vegas to San Diego with my friend Hamza, and we decided to take a quick detour through Death Valley. It was just supposed to be a shortcut. According to GPS, it would save us 4 hours. We'd heard people say, never travel through Death Valley at night, but we laughed it off. Dude, if it's so dangerous, why even call it Death Valley? We had no idea. That name was more than just a warning. It was a prophecy. We left in the afternoon, but by the time evening rolled in, the GPS offered us an alternate route. A small, unnamed desert road that curved away from the main highway. The road was narrow, and there were signs on the side, not a maintained road, travel at your own risk. We ignored them. When you're tired and the route looks shorter, logic takes the back seat. The first hour was fine, but as the night deepened, the road started to fall apart. On our left were endless dunes. On the right, jagged hills. And in the middle, just our car. Around 11 p.m., fuel was down to half. There was no signal, and the road simply vanished into sand, like it had never existed. The GPS froze, stuck on loading. All we could see was open desert and a lifeless horizon. Hamza mumbled, "Maybe we took a wrong turn." We were about to turn back when we saw something glinting near the edge of the sand. It was an old, dust-covered Ford Bronco. Doors open, dashboard smashed, and a faded bag lying on the passenger seat. We assumed some desert traveler had left it behind. Hamza opened the bag. There was only one thing inside, a Polaroid photo of a woman. On the back it read, "She never made it out. Co." We both went cold. A second later, we heard something, a soft shuffling sound, like footsteps, walking in a slow circle around us. There was dead silence all around, but behind us, it felt like someone was creeping in circles around the car. We pulled out our flashlights. Nothing, but in the sand were footprints, barefoot, but not walking forward. The steps were reversed, like someone was facing us, but walking backward. My voice trembled. "We need to leave. Now." We turned the car around. But the road we had come from was now just sand. No tracks, no path, nothing. Hamza panicked. "This is impossible. We came this way." And then the car died. The engine went silent. The battery, dead. Our phones, dead. We sat there in the pitch-black silence of the desert. Outside, something was moving. At first, we thought it might be a coyote. But when it came closer, I saw something I still can't forget. It was taller than a man, hunched forward, arms hanging down to its knees. Its face looked like skin stretched tightly over a skull. There were 2 holes where eyes should have been, and the mouth, open wide, unnaturally cut across the face. It stopped in front of our car, then leaned down and looked inside the windshield. Hamza screamed, "Run!" We flung the doors open and bolted into the desert, barefoot, into the dark, with no direction. We got separated. I kept running. Behind me, I could hear something crawling, not footsteps, dragging sounds, as if something had learned to run using its hands. Then I heard Hamza screaming, "Imran, don't come this way." Then, silence. I froze, turned back. It was gone. Where Hamza had been was just a shallow pit in the sand, scattered handprints, and blood. I hid behind a rock till morning. When the light finally came, I saw a vehicle in the distance, a ranger truck. I ran out, waving my arms and screaming. They picked me up. I told them everything. The police came. Search teams, GPS logs, but there was no trace of Hamza. No footprints, no blood, not even the photo. Only the old Ford Bronco, sitting there like it had always been. Even today, when I think about it, I get chills down my spine. Death Valley is real, but somewhere in that valley is a road not marked on any map, and if you enter it, you may never come back. As for Hamza, every night, I still hear footsteps outside my door. Dry, dragging, soundless steps, buried deep in sand.